Rodell in the ATL. Welcome to another edition of Real Talk with Rodell on our podcast. Of course, you can see us on LinkedIn as well as YouTube, Facebook, and also a taste of tradition.com. We welcome you in this evening. We've got special guests with us. Of course, we come in and we try to share with you and different people and different stories and their backgrounds and where they come from and things of that nature. We've got on a special young lady tonight. She's, of course, her name is Lisa McClendon. You might have heard of her, then maybe you haven't. But I promise you, if you Google her, then you'll be like, oh yeah. She's an international award-winning recording artist. Emerged on the music scene in 2002, reshaping the sound of gospel music with elements of soul and jazz. Quickly became the queen of gospel neo soul. Someone told me the other day when I told them you was coming on that you're like the man, what did they tell me? You're like the Erica Badu of gospel.
Okay,
Have you ever heard that expression?
I have, and that's a lot.
That
That's
is a lot.
that's a lot.
Welcome to the show,
Thank you. Good to see you.
man. It's good to be seen. Let me tell
Yes,
you.
that.
Lisa McClendon. Let's go back a little bit, Lisa. I take it you're from the South, but how long have you been in the South? Probably most of your life, yes.
Born and raised in the South.
And what was it like? What it was like? What was it like being raised in the South as a youngster and wanting to get into the music world of things? What was that like for you?
It was just a dream, like literally, it was all a dream, like Tupac. It was literally all because you have to remember, like I'm about to be joining the 50s club.
Oh
So
wow,
back when I was coming up, there was no social media. There was no internet. That we didn't have the access to other worlds and other communities. So for a young girl from the South, that was way far fetched. I dreamed about it all the time.
yeah.
I reenacted in my bedroom many times, pretending to be interviewed by Donnie Simpson and to be the special guest on Video Soul. Oh, did I? Yes, pretending to be sharing the stage with New Edition. But did I ever think that it would happen? I didn't think it was possible because we didn't have what we have today. So I never thought it was possible, but it didn't stop me from dreaming.
You know, it's interesting you said that because I'm being from Florida as well. I can relate to your story because I felt the same way. It seemed as if we didn't get the same type of not only recognition or respect, or we didn't get even the same type of camaraderie that they have in the north or the other, northern area where they seem to get all the great music, they seem to get all the great artists come out of the north.
Right.
Well, nothing really coming out of the south. And so I realized that you know what, maybe I need to go somewhere else.
I think we all felt that. And I just remember being in high school, and there was a friend of mine in high school by the name of Mike, and he moved down from New York. I was in high school. Yeah, I should say. And I remember we were thinking, why would they move here
Yeah,
from New York? Like, we were trying to get to New York.
right,
So I
right.
totally get what you're saying. I totally get it. And but listen, we on Florida. We on the map now.
So now, exactly. I mean, was it a struggle? Was it a challenge, I should say, for you to get into the industry, or you planned it? I mean, how did it happen for you, Lisa?
I dreamed of it as a child, but I never tried to get into the industry. So my journey into the music industry came by way of my children's father. Actually, we were attending a ministry in Jacksonville, and he was on the audio sound ministry. And the producer at the time, my producer Mo Henderson, was the lead engineer there. And he took my children's father took my songbook to Mo Henderson and was like, check my wife out. And mind you, I had just auditioned for him with a girl group that I was a part of, 3 and 1. We had just auditioned and we didn't get picked up. But when my children's father took him my songbook, he remembered me, and he brought me on through that. But I dreamed about it, but I didn't seek it out. I don't even know if I understood the concept of seeking it out at that time.
So were you writing, of course, at that time,
I
or
was writing for Shabak, for their artist. Um, Yeah, I was, and it's crazy when I think about it. I was writing, and I was content with just writing. I was
Mm.
a writer, and I was fine with just writing for um for the label because he had a label that was underneath the ministry, and I was content with that. But I love to sing, but I
Yeah.
was content with writing. And I don't even think I ever even after that audition with the group that I was in. I don't know if I ever even approached him again about signing me. I don't even know if I saw myself that way. I don't know, but it was my purpose, and I just believe that when you are gifted and purpose to do something, the opportunity will present itself. And when it presents itself, you just have to be ready for it. And then when it presented itself, I was ready.
Yeah.
I don't know how I was. Well, I had been practicing forever, not knowing that the opportunity would come. But when the opportunity came, I was ready.
Ironically, people may not know this, but to enter the industry as a writer is probably the most profound way to enter. Would you agree?
Oh wow! It definitely is the most lucrative. It's the most sustainable way because when you're not on stage, royalty checks come by way of songwriting,
Hello.
machine. Come on now. Uh, and I told my son, who is now a rising artist, his name is Joshua. His artist name is Lamb. He's been doing music for about 3 years, and he's always dropping music. He's not gospel, he's pop. He's in the pop world. But I would always tell him, son, make sure you register your music. You know,
Yeah.
you're a writer. When you're not singing anywhere, those royalty checks will continue to come in if you write and take care of your business. So I can definitely agree with what you're saying. That is probably one of the best ways. If you're a writer, come in through the door writing. Come in writing.
Yeah. At least everybody has shared the stage with some of the biggest names in entertainment and headline tours across the U.S. and abroad. She, of course, continued to travel as a professional singer while using her music and their arts to impact the lives of women and their communities across the globe. What made you have a passion specifically for women?
Just being a woman myself, um, and knowing the things that I've been through as a woman, and just as important as that, reflecting on my mom. Since the passing of my dad, I just really been thinking about my mom and the sacrifices that she made. You know, thinking about him, I couldn't help but think about her. And one of the things that stood out to me the most is all of the things that she endured as a woman, and all the things and all the things she gave up as a wife, as a mother. So many women have dreams of being, my mom in particular, she dreamed of being an artist. She wanted to be a superstar. She wanted to be a movie star, actually. But when she got married, all of her dreams got put on the back burner. And so what she did, she spent many years of her life pushing us into our own dreams. I remember her signing my brother up for visual art classes, and he became an architect because of my mom. I
Hmm.
remember my mom encouraging me to sing and write, and my mother, a missionary, my dad, a Pentecostal preacher. They knew I loved jazz, and they would come home and she would have Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong music for me. She would have what the church would have scolded her for because we were in a Pentecostal church. She knew that those sounds were important to me, so she kept me in different genres of music. And because of my mother, I was able to be a different type of sound when it came to gospel because she didn't try to box me in. And I think I know for sure, a lot of the success that we see as adults is because there's a strong woman somewhere.
Hmm.
And I often, especially back when we go back in time, women didn't have as much say as we do now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And because of that, sometimes women, it kind of reminds me of historically when the slaves were free, but they have been enslaved for so long. History tells us that some of them stayed on the plantation.
Yeah.
And I think with women, like we have a space and we have a broad area to be who we are in the world and society now. However, we've been quiet for so long that in our minds it's hard for us to fathom the fact that you're free.
Yeah.
You can speak up, you can be successful, you can raise a family and do this and do that. So I think it's important for me. And then trauma. My mom went through trauma, and then I experienced my own trauma. and it's so many women who suffer in silence, and I want to be able to give them a space to have a voice and then be their voice as well as much as I can by telling my own stories, because my stories are their stories.
Um, so getting into this industry as a songwriter,
Hmm.
awesome singer, by the way, everybody. I'm sure
Thank
you
you.
awesome singer, you sing for real. Um, were you getting any type of and speaking about being a woman, were there sort of backlashes because females at one point weren't getting the just due as they are now? Were you getting any of that when you become to be a quote unquote recording artist?
I don't think I did. I either I didn't, or the people that were surrounding me were protecting me. And I'd considered Mo Henderson, who's my producer, my label, the label owner. Like, he was so much to me at that time, and then my children's father as well. And then even the team, my team in the beginning of my career, I believe that they were very protective of me. And I'm pretty sure that there were things that they hid from me to protect me. But even in that, I think by the time I came on the scene, things had begun to change a lot for women. I mean, you got women pastors, women apostles. I mean, so much has changed. I mean, a lot has changed by now.
Yeah.
Had changed by then. So no, I don't. I don't think I got a lot of it, but the little that I probably did get, it was never revealed to me.
So was there a person or people that really encouraged you to want to go into this as an artist, or this was a desire deep within you from the very beginning?
It was a desire for me. It was two things. It was a desire in me deep from the beginning, and then there were people that saw something in me and they believed in me, and then they presented the opportunity. So it was both. It was those on the outside that matched the dream that I had on the inside. And so my readiness on the inside plus the opportunity on the outside allowed this to be.
There's one word that you keep bringing up that I want to focus on, the word dream.
Yeah.
A lot of times people don't dream. What do you say to those people that don't even have a vision or a dream to dream things that they may even think, like you said, didn't think it would happen for you, but it did?
Um, I think it's important for people to identify why they aren't dreaming. I think we all have things that we desire, but that F word, fear,
Yeah.
fear, fear can keep you. Um, I learned so much about fear, and just being a student of um, the behavior, human behavior. I learned so much about the brain. And the brain has a way, and I know this from experience, Rodell, it has a way of you looking at something that you have been doing all of your life, and your brain is telling you you can no longer do that, and your body will not move
Wow.
because your mind is in bondage. It goes back to that what we just talked about a few minutes ago. It goes back to the slaves being free. And because they had been there, they didn't know how to. It's the same way as your brain locking you in, telling you you can't do something. And you're standing there going, but I've done this before.
Yeah.
Which is, of course, trauma in a lot of cases. So I think people have experienced trauma, or they believe the hype of somebody telling them what they can't do. Then I'll tell you a story about that. If I forget, just say Star Spangled Banner, and I could tell you a story about that.
Yeah.
But I think people don't dream because they are afraid. And if you can find a way to get past the fear, which you can, there is a formula to get past fear. And it's not just speaking. Speaking is a part of it, but there's physical things that you can do to get past fear. You can be brave enough to dream and then pursue your dream, but you got to be able to dream first. In order to dream, you got to be able to get around fear or dismiss the fear and get to the dream.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking of the scripture where it says, "Without a vision, the people perish." You gotta think, man. You got,
So
you got,
good.
you know what?
So good.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, how else do you expect to move forward? I mean, if you don't envision it yourself, it's not gonna come to fruition because you're not even putting the words out there or anything, you know?
Right. But people they got to get past fear, and that scripture is so powerful because you got to in order to get past fear. I almost feel like it's proper to say you escape death.
Wow. Wow.
Because you just said it, you perish. You and some people are very comfortable in life. And there's a place for comfort. There's a place, but comfort shouldn't engulf our lives. I'm learning that. I'm learning how important it is to stretch yourself to dream, stretch yourself to pursue your dream, and don't necessarily stay in a dream state because a dream state doesn't get anything done.
Yeah.
You dream it so you can get the vision, so you can see what to do, and then you have to actually execute. And I was really good at dreaming. Oh, I'm the master of dreaming. And then I would get afraid to do anything about it. It's like you have all these wonderful ideas, but you ain't doing nothing.
Yeah.
So you have the vision, but you have to execute. You have to put your feet to the ground and get some movement to the dream.
I'm reminded of a saying. It's old cliche. Don't talk about it, be about it.
Don't right. Don't talk about it. Be about it. Exactly.
Because
Fear.
yeah, you're right. Fear
Fear.
is a serious enemy, man, to on a lot of us where we're afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Um, were you afraid enough to where it hindered you, or were you afraid enough to where you say, you know what, if I don't try this, how else would I know?
No, I was afraid enough to not try. So I went through a family transition about 7 years ago now. I want to say 7 years ago now. And I know in the how do I say this? I know in my upbringing, in my church upbringing, it was not embraced to use certain terms, but I'm so proud of the church community now because I see where we're starting to get it. We're starting to really get it. And I said that to say about 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with PTSD.
Mm.
Now, I heard her and I heard of PTSD and I always associated that with military, you know what I mean? But never quite myself until I started seeing it. So when I told you earlier, I was on the outside looking in, seeing myself. I'm like, I have been singing for years, and then got to the point where I would have to sing, and my whole body would just shut down in in fear that wasn't even real. Like I wasn't in no danger. Nobody was out to shoot me. I wasn't gonna die if I sang a note. But somehow the trauma that I experienced 7 years ago told my brain that some kind of way that my music was associated with the trauma. Now I'm on the outside of myself. I'm literally on the outside looking at myself going, but that's not true. That had nothing to do with that. Like you're good. And for about 7 years, I couldn't sing. Could not. Tried, did a little something and just would have anxiety, would wake up mornings with heavy anxiety, like can't breathe, and literally sitting in my bed holding my chest, like, really? You can't get out of bed? There's nothing wrong with you. But my brain is telling me something is wrong. And so I had to literally go to therapy to learn how to get around that and retrain my brain. So the brain is powerful.
Yeah.
It is very powerful. So that means we got to really take care of it. And we got to talk to it and we got to train it to do what we know it can do. Because if you let the brain or things that you go through be in control of you, you will be on the outside looking in, knowing that you can do something and not doing it because your brain tells you that you can't do it.
Mm. You done touched on something else I want to ask. Therapy is so vital nowadays, especially in our culture.
Yes.
Can you speak to that? How important it is to get therapy?
So I learned something new recently, and I was like, okay, God, I knew that, but I didn't know that. So therapy is very important, and I'm again proud of my church community who are now starting to get that church doesn't therapy doesn't mean you're dismissing God at
Right.
all. You're just trusting the gift of wisdom that God has put in individuals. But there's two types. There are probably more, but two types of therapy that I want to touch on. There's talk therapy, and then there's physical therapy. Okay. So both are equally as important because there are some things that we face in life that no matter how much the person talks to you, it'll never change. I'll give you an example. A person gets in a car accident and they can't use their legs anymore, and the doctor says they have a chance to walk again. However, they have to go to
Therapy.
physical therapy.
Yeah.
I don't care how much you get on your knees and you talk to their legs, doesn't matter. You have to go through physical therapy.
Yeah.
So both talk therapy and physical therapy are both so important. There are some things that talk therapy has really helped me conquer, really helped me get a grip on, really helped me get a different perspective on here so that I can move forward. And then there are some things that I had to literally, once I got the cognitive idea of it, I had to get up and get my body moving so that I can do it because it's like, okay, talk therapy has done its part. Now you have to get up and do something. You have to literally get up and start walking, Lisa. So both are important. And I would always tell like people we would be in talks and I would just say one thing that I just know they meant well when we were growing up in church. Um, they made us really independent in a lazy way. Um, you wanna do this? Wait, I gotta go pray about it. And it's like it rem- some things you don't need to pray about. You just need to do something. Because God,
Right.
you already like it's do you have to pray about eating? Do you have to pray about, you know what I'm saying? Did you pray about the dress you just bought? Did you pray about the car you? So it's like we do that as a safety net. So we blame God. We blame God for stuff that we didn't take care of. And when we don't take care of it, or when it goes south, or when it doesn't work out, we say, well, it wasn't God's will. No, you didn't do nothing.
Yeah.
You didn't do anything. And then we blame God. And it's like, God's like,
Yeah. I made the way for you. What you doing?
so we gotta be, I've learned to be careful about that. I mean, I've been stopped doing a long time ago, but that's definitely something that I've seen in the past. People do we make God a crutch. And so we make God an excuse for not getting things done. And so just me being raised in the church, I saw that firsthand growing up. And I believe those individuals meant well. That's all they knew. But when you know better, you do better. So I think we know better now that we have to move. We have to use. I heard Bishop TJ say one time. I was like, whoa. He said, "You want and I'm paraphrasing. He said, "You want money. You asking God for money, but God is giving you a gift to build chairs. Go build a chair.
Mm.
He's not gonna give you the money. He's gonna give you the tools to build a chair to get the money,
Yeah.
not give you the money."
Yep. You're right. We don't want to do the work. Somebody, come on now.
It's a lazy culture, but they meant well, but they really created a community of lazy independence, and I don't think they meant to do that, but they definitely created that, and it's like we're starting to wake up and see, no, God has given me a mind. I know when I start moving, if something ain't right, my spirit will check, and I'll stop and be like, I don't think this is the way I'm supposed to go, but we need to start moving and stop waiting and then blaming God when stuff don't work out because we didn't do what we needed to do.
You seem to have always. I've known you to just keep going, keep striving, keep progressing.
My mama.
Uh,
My mama.
is that where it come from?
Yeah, it is. And it can be exhausting at times, in all honesty, because you feel like, oh my God, again. But when I was in my early 20s, I remember reading a story about the children of Israel. And they just kept going round and round in circles.
Yeah.
And God rescued them again. And I remember going, okay, guys, because it was my first time reading that story. And I was like, God, it's truly not going to rescue them this time. And God rescued them again. And they got rescued. And it just showed you that sometimes we just do that in life, one thing after the other. Now, for whatever reason it is, maybe you're in a situation because of what you did. And then maybe you're in a situation because it's just life. Life is just being life. But God always comes through. So I'm tired sometimes, but then remember stories like that, or I'll see a documentary of people who are really just going through it. And I mean, that's why I love documentaries so much, because it tells people's story and you realize that You're not the only person in the world that has trauma or has not just trauma, just have life happening.
Yeah.
And people get up every day and they make it happen. So
Yeah.
you just got to figure out how to make it happen because life is not going to stop because you tired.
You sitting over there being lazy.
You just got to figure it out. I'm like, ugh. So I'm just having to learn. Like, you just got to figure out you have to figure it out. You have to figure it out.
So the Star Spangled Banner story, you took care of that already, or you want to share it with us?
I forgot why I was sharing it with you. I think we were talking about, I forgot. Anyway, whatever we were talking about is pretty much the story is wrapped in how you cannot allow people to tell you what you can't do.
Yeah.
Because they'll hinder you from the next level where you need to go. So recently I had to sing the Star Spangled Banner at the National Alliance of Mental Illness walk. And without warning, I was grabbing the microphone and I started having an anxiety attack. Now, one thing about me, I was diagnosed with anxiety disorder at 15. But we were raised again in church, and my parents really didn't know any better. So we just gave it to Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
Never did anything about it, never walked out of the hospital, never talked about it again. Rodell, I went through the rest of my life having anxiety attacks all the time, but I just kind of learned how to get around it. And I totally forgot what the doctor told us when I was 15. So I learned how to just kind of get around it, if that makes sense. It's almost like a person who loses a limb. You learn to keep moving. You learn to keep going through life with that injury or that missing limb because you got to keep living, right? So when they gave me the microphone, I started having an anxiety attack, and I remember saying to myself, "Really, you gonna do this now? All right, gotta sing anyway." So I sang. I wasn't happy with the performance at all because I've been practicing the song. I knew the song. And I had my moment as I was coming off the stage, giving the microphone to the young woman. Young woman says, "I'm a singer too. You need to make sure that you know the words."
Oh, wow.
Right? Now we are at a National Alliance of Mental Illness. An anxiety disorder is a mental illness. You are walking for people like me, and you asked me if I was okay.
Right.
Nothing. So But because I learned how to control and navigate, I just looked at her and I smiled. Now there's a war going on in my spirit. Hallelujah. But I'm looking at her smiling. I said, "I do know the words. I've sang this song before." I said, "I apologize. I just had a whole anxiety attack on stage." And she said, "Oh," and she just walked away. And I remember thinking, well, where the heck is the empathy? Like, are you okay? Now, mind you, other people later on came to me and I was telling them about the story, and they were like, "Oh my God, we didn't even know you were having an anxiety attack. Are you good?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm good." So I refused to be defeated. I was like, you have to show your brain that you're safe. You've been singing for years. Let's get it together.
Yeah.
I went back to the person who invited me, the person who's in charge, and I pulled her to the side and I was like, "I apologize." And she's looking at me like, and I didn't catch it then, but she's looking at me. She's like, "Oh no, you were fine." And she's like, "You did great." And my brain was like, "She's lying. She's not telling the truth." And I said, "Can I sing again?" And she said, "Absolutely." And then she asked me to sing pause. Long story short, I sang the song, went home, dealt with it the way I dealt with it. Whatever. This woman called me last week and said, "Hey, thank you again for coming out. We talked about the situation." At the end of the conversation, she said, "Yes, Kaiser University was at the walk. And one of the professors from the walk said, 'Who was the young lady that sang the national anthem? Oh my gosh, she's amazing.' They just booked me to sing the national anthem at Kaiser University's ceremony in June."
See?
What are you doing?
That's what I'm talking about.
So you got this person as with the capacity that she has is not even supporting me, and then you got me trying to tell myself that you're okay, and I was able to get myself to believe it.
Yeah.
And then what I heard is not even what they heard.
And you know what? That's a word right there.
Listen.
What I heard is not what they heard.
What I heard was not what they heard.
Yeah.
And I was like, you over here stressed and trying to calm down and These people are like, girl, you sound great. And I'm like, no. And they were like, yes. So it just remind you, like, sometimes we overthink. And I have to train myself to not overthink. Because,
Now let's talk about this performing arts community that you're a part of, where you created women to give a unique space for expressive arts. What is it called?
so the name of the organization is called Yeye's Village. It is a unique space, creative space for women to express themselves out loud as they want to be. Because I recently had I don't think they meant anything really by it, but I recently had someone say they described me as being say she's outspoken, and I kind of didn't know if they meant it in a compliment way. It didn't feel like it was a compliment, and I remember thinking, yes, I'm outspoken because at 7 years old when I was molested, I didn't know how to speak up. I didn't speak up for 20 something years. I didn't speak up. Yes, I'm outspoken. For every girl who's been raped or molested, or a woman who's been beaten and abused, would you tell those women not to speak up? So I kind of take that to heart when somebody says, "Oh, she's so outspoken." I wish somebody would have taught me how to be outspoken when I was younger. So this place is a place for women to come and to be outspoken through the arts. Bring your trauma, bring and some it may not even be trauma. Bring your gift, bring your talent to the stage. Do you sing? Do you dance? Do you act? Let's bring all of us to the stage and let's bring all of our gifts together and let's help heal women. So I want to use this space. We've been using this space to help women to bring their art. Women who want to be on stage but don't know how to get on stage. They don't know how to bring their gifts to the stage. That is what Ye's Village is about. And then we do annual presentations or annual productions where the women get to share their gifts with the community. And then within that organization, we also have a youth village. And in the youth village, it's also the same thing, but for children. I've been working with children for quite some time. So it's a place where the kids can come and they learn how to deal with their emotions and how to have self control, emotional intelligence. But we use the arts to help them learn that.
Is poetry is a part of that?
Yeah, any art they want to, any performing arts they want to bring. Yes.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So Lisa, at this point in your career, has it been what has it been for you? I mean, you seem to have gotten to a point where you're like you're on this, you seem to be smooth sailing right now. I mean, are you where you want to be? Are you what's your ultimate goal?
I am on the road. Oh, you know what? Maybe I am where I want to be because where I am currently, Rodale, is I'm learning and I'm moving. So I'm not somewhere where I'm hoping and wishing. I'm doing the work. If that
Yeah,
makes any sense.
yeah,
So my ultimate goal. So currently I'm in grad school for media psychology, and so the ultimate goal is to take the world of art and the world of psychology and to merge those two to help bring healing to people, which is pretty much what Lisa McClendon Brand has been doing through music anyway. I
mhm,
just didn't know that's what I was doing in this regard, but having the more academia side to what I've been doing for years. So I've been engulfing myself in this new community arts on prescription, which is a new emerging model for healthcare physicians to, and a lot of physicians around the globe are coming aboard where they are using the arts. And instead of you coming in and you getting a prescription for a bottle of pills, now doctors are finding in some instances, instead of giving you a prescription for a bottle of pills, they could prescribe to you to go see the new Broadway show. And studies are showing that art actually addresses certain ailments that we deal with.
yeah,
And it's crazy because when I was going through my family transition about 7 years ago, one of the first things that I stopped doing, and I meant well, was I stopped singing because I was like, I just got to go heal. I got to go get therapy. I got to get not therapy, therapy. I got to go heal. I can't sing right now. I got to get myself together. And then I learned that the very gift that God has given me,
yeah, yeah.
that's my healing.
Wow.
That was the thing that was keeping me sane all of those years.
Yeah,
And when I stopped singing, because for a time before my before that transition, But I had stopped singing because I was serving someone else's dreams.
Yeah.
And I started deteriorating because that one thing that was healing me, I was no longer doing. And so, yeah, so a lot of practitioners now they're doing that. They're prescribing trips to the museum, take a gardening class, go join a choir. There's a condition called asphyxia, where aphasia. I'm sorry, aphasia, where there are studies showing that people who when they go and sing in choirs helps with their aphasia.
Mm.
Isn't that crazy? That shows you how amazing God is.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to do. Take the world of science and the world of art and see what God can use me to do with it in the community.
Well, the term music is a universal language. It really is literally because it heals, as you said, in
Absolutely.
so many different ways that people can't even imagine.
Dance, movement.
Yeah.
You know, we would talk, I went in class recently. It's a class where they teach you about what we would probably call in the church, the moan. So you remember the deacons in the old Baptist church would moan?
Yeah.
So studies are finding that there's healing in the moans.
Mm.
Come on. And I'm
Wow.
like, when you think about a mother and her child, the baby's crying, and she's humming,
Mhm.
all of those vibrations that God has given us is bringing healing and comfort. I say, God, you got this so rigged. You got it fixed. You got it fixed. It's like, oh my God, it just makes me so awed with the power of God. So yeah, all these things that we just think we don't realize how deep it is, the gifts that God has given us.
So, what's to come for you in the future, Lisa McClendon, as far as music? Are we expecting any new music coming from you?
Sure,
I
sure,
know you ain't stopped singing.
sure. He's still saying
Okay.
we'll leave it right there.
Okay. She said, that's all I'm going to say about that.
Right now, we'll put a pin in that right now.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Any encouraging words for our audience to say
Man.
with all you've said? Um, what would you like to share with our audience as far as your career is concerned, or your journey that has helped you sustain yourself to this point in life that you can share with our audience?
I think the main thing that comes to mind is all the things that we go through in life, all the pieces, the happy pieces, the not so happy pieces, the traumatic pieces, they are all a part of the complete puzzle that makes us who we are. And if you ever take a piece away, then you're incomplete.
Mm.
I think that's so important to understand so that we understand that God can use it all. So the trauma needed, the happy moments needed, the mediocre moments needed. They're all needed. If you think about a puzzle, there are those really burst of color pieces in the puzzle, and then there's those dark corners, and then then there are those new colors, but they all form a complete puzzle. It all makes you who you are. So it's just important for us to take time to sit and reflect and find the lesson, find the story, find the comfort in everything because it is all a part of your story. There's a blessing in all of it. It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't always feel like it, but eventually, as the pieces keep putting together, the whole puzzle will come, and you can see where it all played a part. And like, oh, that's what that piece was. That's what that piece was. So,
The Erica Badu of gospel, y'all. Lisa McClendon, well, y'all.
yeah,
This has been wonderful.
yeah.
Y'all please go Google her and get more information on her and follow her. How can they follow you on social media?
So you can definitely follow me on LinkedIn, Lisa McClendon. All social media, either Lisa McClendon or I am Lisa McClendon. Lisa McClendon or I am Lisa McClendon on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and then of course LinkedIn. My new people at LinkedIn.
Well, we certainly can't wait until the new stuff come out. I know you're working on things that you can't talk about right now, but
You actually laugh.
I appreciate it. And so when you do get done, you're definitely welcome back to be on the show.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate it.
come
Thank
where
you
we
so
can
much.
tell our audience about the new projects of Lisa McClendon.
Yeah, you my people.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, lady.
Appreciate you. Thank you, Rodell. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for coming too. All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you.